One of my favorite AEI papers, I didn't get time to look it up last night.
He's going to give us his top 10 list here.
No, is the looking at consumption instead of income. Because income's complicated. If I'm a student who's making no income, but I'm investing in my capabilities, okay, my income looks funny. If I'm a trader who had a bad year, my income looks funny. Consumption really is what you care about. So when people say, hey, Mr. Gates, you should feel guilty because you have so much money. Well, it's not that I have money. It's my consumption I should, if I'm supposed to feel guilty, it's my consumption. The part that is going to philanthropy really is, in a sense, in the pocketbooks of the poorest, assuming that we're smart about getting it to benefit them. And the idea that consumption should be progressively taxed, I think that makes a lot of sense. People have tried to do that by doing particular taxes on luxury goods and things like that. That's not very effective. It's sort of picking favorites type things. But yes, consumption should be progressively taxed.
Hey, I want you to welcome some very old friend of ours.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. If you buy, sell, manufacture, import fasteners, hey, well, this is the podcast for you. We're glad you joined us. Eric Dudas here, and I'm joined, as always, by the co-host of Fully Threaded Radio. He's the code slinger extraordinaire and all-around great fastener guy, Mr. Brian Musker. Hey, Bri, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thanks.
Happy spring, finally.
Yes, though this is Chicago for me, okay? I mean, we can have snow anytime up to middle of July, okay?
And this year, you just never know about that. But, hey, I pulled all the plow markers off of the side of the property out here in the northeast section of Ohio, and so I've got my money down on that one. And hopefully everybody out there, you're looking good too. This is episode 92 of Fully Threaded Radio.
What? Oh, so this is episode 92.
That's right. This is episode 92, everybody. We'll mention that on the next segment. I'll tell you the mess up with that, but we're publishing on April 16th, 2015. I think we've got a pretty good show once again, Bri.
Yeah. This is the way that IRS counts the taxes, okay? So 1 for you, and 2 for me, and 2 for me, and 3 for you.
That is true, Bri. It is tax season, and I hope everybody by now has got theirs done. That was supposed to be done yesterday if you're listening to this on published day.
Yep.
You get yours all squared away?
Yeah. Yeah, I always have someone do it. I decided when I came to this country, the last thing I needed is a communist regime coming rushing after me, which is how I regard the IRS. Okay?
Well,
Marxist.
Yeah. Well, it was in the manifesto, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Be that as it may, we're all forced to abide by that, and I think most of us have. And if you haven't, well, get to work.
Right.
And we've gotten to work on this episode, everybody. I hope you'll enjoy it. It's another great episode, I think. This feature segment on today's episode is a conversation with Mr. Marc Strandquist. He, the Executive Vice President of the Würth Group in North America. We cover a few topics there, and the Würth Group has a fairly momentous birthday this year. We also spent some time with Rich Cavoto of Metric and Multi-Standard and the Midwest Fastener Association. Always good talking to Rich. I think you'll get a kick out of this conversation. Plus, the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty is coming up. Mike's got a great back page report. This is a page out of his old textbook, Bri. You'll, I think,
good.
Dovetail pretty well on your previous comments there.
Oh, good. Okay, so you're going to get another set of irate listeners.
We've also got the Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo coming up, and Jay Minichino with the Fastener Industry Coalition presenting Fastener Association news. So it's all coming up straight away. We've got some great sponsors on this episode too, don't we, Brian?
well, this episode and ones in the past too. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and Lindstrom. Stellfast, the service you deserve and people you trust. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, parts done right. And Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio are Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, the Würth Group, InSequel Software, ND Industries, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. So thanks all of you for helping to make this possible. And if you're a listener, make sure you give preference to buying from these people, okay?
That's right. It doesn't hurt to tell them Fully Threaded sent you when you do business with any of these guys. And we appreciate you listening, everybody. Get with us anytime. The email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter. You can reach us under the handle Fully Threaded. Talk to you that way anytime. So, Bri, we're going to get this shindig going in just a moment, assuming we don't have any interruptions during the break from a government agency that will go unnamed.
or a barking dog.
Yeah, the wild card fastener dog interruption is always a danger here on Fully Threaded, but one we're up to overcoming.
Yes.
We'll talk to everybody in just a few minutes, and we'll put a wrench to this one. It's Fully Threaded Radio. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
You probably know that Lindstrom is an industry leader in metric fasteners. And there's a good chance you know we recently expanded to provide a wide range of high-grade inch fasteners. But what you probably don't know is that Lindstrom has made a serious commitment to earn your socket business. How serious? Well, let's start with 11,000 products. Announcing Lindstrom's expanded line of socket products, including socket head cap screws, flat head socket cap screws, button head socket cap screws, socket shoulder screws, and more. Plain, plated, or patched, in a full range of inch and metric sizes. Special lengths and thread pitches available through in-house fabrication. Always packed to your specification. Lindstrom. Flexibility, choice, and value at every turn. Here for everything distributors need. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded line of socket products, visit LindstromSockets.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-328-2430.
Harry, how's your search for new software going?
We've looked at a lot of systems, some with the same old technology, and others didn't seem like they knew much about what we did or needed. We did look at one company, crazy name though, I think it was InSequel.
You mean INXSQL? That's InSequel. That's what we use. We've become much more efficient, and we've been able to offer our customers more services, which makes us more competitive.
Yeah, Inkswell, that's the one. They seem to be the only company that really understood what fastener distributors do for a living, and I found it easy to use.
Harry, it's InSequel, INXSQL. You don't pronounce the X. We buy a lot from several master distributors, and their direct connect simplifies the whole process. When we need pricing and availability quickly, we just hit the F12 key.
If you don't pronounce the X, why put it in there? A friend told me they get great support from NXQL.
Yes, with InSequel, our experience has been the same. Quality support, They know our business. And the best part is, no extra charges. With our old system, apparently nothing we called about was covered by support.
You know, Inkwell seems to be the right company for us.
They're called InSQL, INXSQL. Go to their website, www.inxsql.com, or call them at 877-446-9775.
Looking for package fasteners of all kinds? How about specials or unique parts that no one seems to carry? At Trinity Hardware Headquarters, we believe in parts done right, and our new catalogue is available online at trinityhardwarehq.com, featuring over 30,000 different types of fasteners available in package quantities, product kits, and assortments, including hundreds of hard-to-find parts as well as the most popular inch and metric sizes. Trinity Hardware Headquarters has locations throughout the Midwest and South, and over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space with 18 million pounds of fasteners ready to fill your requirements. Our featured products include number 3 and number 7 head plough bolts, grade 5 and grade 8 carriage bolts, hook bolts, tap bolts, and nuts and washers of all kinds, plus much more. Visit our website at www.trinityhardwarehq.com or give Trinity Hardware Headquarters a call at 888-232-1010. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
This is Tom Bohr from the Cambridge Corporation. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
You know, Bri, when you really think about it, each and every episode of Fully Threaded Radio is an online fastener summit.
A summit, okay. Extravaganza of fastener.
Wisdom, yes.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the right word today.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about a pair of fastener summits coming up in just a few moments, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. We very much appreciate it. Hey, we're joined today by MWFA President, everyone's favorite strictly metric fastener guy of Metric and Multi-Standard. It's Rich Cavoto. Hey, Rich.
Thank you for that warm reception there.
Oh, no.
Nice to be back on.
Yeah, we're very good at giving warm receptions, actually.
We are. Our specialty.
Right.
Saw a picture of you out there on Twitter the other day. What were you doing with MWFA on Twitter?
Well, there was a plant tour at C&H up in Racine, Wisconsin. Had about 35 people go through the tour from our association, and they did a nice job. It's a nice 2-hour tour. A bunch of retirees do it I think they do it every day up there. You just have to make an appointment. From the bare frame to the finished product, it's a pretty nice little tour that you can see a lot of nuts and bolts and hydraulics being used on some good old farm equipment.
Wow. So this truly is back to the nuts and bolts of the industry.
It sure is. Yeah, they make about 25 a day up there. And it's definitely a assembly line that's fine-tuned.
Wait, they do 25 what exactly, Rich?
Tractors. They make 25 tractors. Either they make Case tractors or New Holland tractors. They make them both in that facility.
Oh, okay.
Racine, Wisconsin. Well, that is the heart of the Midwest. Now, are they using metric up there? I'm guessing not.
Oh, you're guessing wrong. There's definitely a lot of metric on. I think they actually do use both, but for the most part, what I saw as far as the fasteners were going, there was a lot of metric bolts.
Is that right? Now, how does that actually work, though? How would that have come to be?
Well, it's all through the engineering sector for Case New Holland, which slowly but surely a lot of stuff is coming, especially if they want to deal with any overseas markets. So that's quite a bit of metric that I saw.
Well,
the equipment.
You could be on any farm in New Zealand and you would see New Holland, okay? So, or Australia, I guess, for that matter. So they certainly are what the tractors you'd see all around the place. So that would be the metric, I guess, influence. I guess it's New Zealand and Australia, not the only place. It's got to be all over the world.
Interesting. Somehow New Zealand and Australia always come into our episodes, Bri.
Yeah, I know. Why is that, do you think?
Last episode, of course, we were talking with Dick Ripley. He now with Lindstrom. Hey, Rich, did you get word that Lindstrom is no longer Lindstrom Metric? It's just Lindstrom?
I did hear that news.
It's got to make you breathe a little easier, huh?
Anything that has metric out of it in our name is good.
Right. This is true. For you, yeah.
Now, they're Lindstrom by any measure. I guess you guys, if you're looking for a new slogan, you could possibly use metric and multi-standard by just one measure. How's that work for you?
The purest measure. Purely metric.
No charge.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure.
You know, one other thing about metric and multi-standard, I don't care what anybody says, I'll call you guys up just to be on hold. You have the most groovy hold music that there is.
It's been up there for a few years. We might need to swing it around a little bit.
I was going to ask, have you changed it in the last 7-8 years?
Oh, well, I think it's probably only 5 years old, so I don't think it's quite that old. But hopefully they're not on hold very long.
Right. Well, there's a good comeback. Oh, it doesn't matter. I enjoy talking to you anytime. Now, since it is the beginning of April, and I know you're a good South Side boy, what are you measuring the Sox as doing this year? You think they've got a chance?
Well, I think as we speak, they're going to be 0-3. But I will be down there with my South Side pals for the opener, and hopefully they can turn things around here.
Well, I'm sure the MWFA people are going to head down there again. I know I joined you down there one time, and you were there too, Brian. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had actually the most interesting part, apart from the game, was the drive and how to really negotiate through almost totally stopped Chicago rush hour traffic and yet smile at everyone.
Well, everyone else was stopped. We were diverting around by a very talented South Side chauffeur.
Right.
Whose name will remain unspoken.
Right.
But if we ever go down for another one, we'll definitely look you up, Rich.
We'll use the same driver, I think.
I got your back, boys.
Thank you.
Well, and speaking of having our back, I want to get something out of the way. I always like to do this early in the podcast when I need to, which hopefully will not be too frequently in the ongoing episodes. But yes, once again, I have to announce a...
Oh, not really.
Yes.
Again? Here we go again, Brian.
When was the last time you did this?
Well...
I'm still waiting for me to do one.
Oh, we're very leaning on you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this week's...
Screw Up of the Week.
Don't ask me how I did it, but I was referring to the last episode, which was episode 91, as episode 92. And for the record, everybody, this is episode 92. Sorry for the screw up, and if any of you felt like you were in some kind of a time warp, I'm to blame.
I might tell you, I was reminded from Australia that we had the numbering system wrong, okay?
Really? One of our listeners from Australia called up, huh?
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, everybody, even down under.
I had to suggest that since we do the numbering system, it has to be right by definition.
Good comeback. I would have just slunk away. But no, I'm manning up, and we'll try not to let that happen again. Hey, you figure 92 episodes, at the time 91. I've got them straight now, but that's the first time I made that particular error. So we occasionally get one or two things wrong here on the podcast, and when we do, you hear about it. Sorry.
It's a doozy.
Well, and speaking of the last episode and things that went on then, we were talking a lot about importing and the fiasco of the West Coast port management and dock workers being unable to come to some kind of a mutual contract agreement. But of course, they have reached a tentative agreement now, guys, as I'm sure you know, and most of the listeners know.
Right.
Rich, did metric and multi-standard experience anything in particular as a result of the whole slowdown, or what was your take on it?
We only get a couple containers out to our Reno branch a year. It did affect one of them by about 4 weeks. For the most part, the bulk of ours does come in on the East Coast, so it was a little bit of slowdown there just because it was probably so crowded. But it definitely wasn't as bad as the West Coast problems with most of our stuff coming in on the East side.
Yeah, so you were sort of pretty lucky then, actually.
Yeah, I mean, our stock was minimally affected, other than a little bit of a slowdown on the East Coast. So it was okay.
Now, let me understand this clearly. You were receiving, or you have received traditionally, most of your stock from the East Coast ports because you're based in New Jersey, right?
In New York, yeah, up in Hawthorne.
Excuse me. Okay.
That's okay. You're forgiven. We don't want any more of your mistakes.
It's like calling me an Australian.
Yeah, they've been headquartered out there for 50 plus years, and that's where it all kind of filters into, and then we ship it to the branches from there.
Yep.
And every couple times a year, we ship something directly out to Reno, either from Germany or from Taiwan.
Got it. Well, one of the reasons I'm poking around about this a little bit is because I saw an article. This was actually by way of the Fastener News Desk. Saw this on Twitter the other day. If you're not following Fastener News Desk on Twitter, you should. If you're not on Twitter, you should be.
What's that? Okay.
This was a link to an CNBC article, and the title of it was Simple Solution, Don't Let Labor Negotiations Break Down. And they were commenting that the West Coast ports have possibly lost a little bit of mojo and speculating what might happen. Kind of the meat and potatoes of this comes out in this paragraph. Starts, the long-term result of the 2002 debacle was the East Coast and Gulf ports saw lasting boosts in business as shippers diversified their options. This time, the cry is even louder, with a Journal for Commerce survey finding 65% of shippers will be sending at least some of their cargo elsewhere in 2015 and 2016, with a third headed for the East Coast. The numbers are likely to soar even higher next year as expansion of the Panama Canal is completed, making alternative routes easier.
So now, what is the ports on the East Coast? Are they able to handle like extra capacity? They have extra capacity?
Good question. You have a feel for that one, Rich?
Well, I've seen the Long Beach ports and all the way up the coast up to Seattle. But the Long Beach port is really enormous. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the ports in New York and New Jersey. I would assume the West Coast is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff coming from the Far East, but hey, you keep loading them up, they'll keep people employed. They'll get it off those boats.
Well, it's a great question, Brian, and you have to figure that the powers that be, hopefully, that are watching over all this, if they see capacity expanding through the canal, they would be adjusting for it, but maybe not. This story goes on. It's not just domestic diversification. Some of the cargo has already ended up at ports in Canada and Mexico, taking U.S. jobs with it. That doesn't sound very good.
Well, strikes have this little problem, okay? And, that's the problem with the West Coast. It does have a history of this. Now, has there been major strikes on the East Coast? I do not know this, so it's a question.
Well, one thing's for sure. Earlier in this whole debacle, we heard about some of the overground transportation tightening up, and those unions, which I guess would be Teamsters, voicing their concerns about the fallout through all of this. And, it's just a big mess. I mean, the easiest thing would be if the West Coast would just get its act together, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular. All I know is both sides have grievances, and in this case, it really was not borne out very elegantly, shall we say?
Yeah, elegant. Good word, yeah. It was a mess.
Well, if your stuff has been caught out on the water or slowed down to a point where it's affecting your business, everybody, I hope you know where to come. And that is fastenersclearinghouse.com. If you've got a part that you're looking for and you can't find it, or you need a supplier who does have it, things are going to be jammed up for a little while. Get out to fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's the home of the FCH sourcing network. Brian and I are the guys who make all that happen. We'd be really glad to have you out there. On the other side of that coin, if you're looking to move inventory or get new business, new customers, new clients, we'd like to talk to you on that score too. www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. It's the FCH sourcing network. Glad to have you guys out there, Rich. Metric and multi-standard, of course, a proud member.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah, for a long time.
Yep. Getting a lot of action off of it.
Yep. We were talking about Fastener Summits I'm happy to announce that we've been talking about the upcoming North Coast Fastener Association and their Distributor Social, which NCFA President Marty Nolan has cast as the NCFA Fastener Summit, and of course happening on May 14th, 2015 in Independence, Ohio. Right, you and I will be participating in a panel discussion out there in Independence on the 14th. And last episode, we announced the panelists. They are you and Mr. Bob Bear of Abbott Interfast, and also Ryan Curtis, he of Stelfast. And I'm really looking forward to that. You are coming out for that, correct?
I am. Absolutely. I'm prepping myself already because I have to suddenly appear intelligent, okay?
Oh, I don't think that's going to be a stretch for you, Bri.
You always appear to be intelligent.
Yeah, okay, I should have rephrased it. I have to be intelligent.
Yeah, let's not call that into question at this juncture. I mean, speaking of intelligence, though, you guys did a wise thing, Mr. Cavoto, and there's going to be quite a few people from the MWFA making their way east out to Cleveland.
Yeah, the North Coast invited the Midwest Fastener members to attend at no charge. So we definitely brought a pretty good crew last year, and definitely rustle them up again to get a bunch over there. We should have a good handful of people. Probably, I hate to throw a number on it, but they're usually 12, 15, maybe 20 from Chicago area.
Nice.
That come to the social, and Marty and the association do a great job with that event. And I did notice the 2015 Fastener Summit on their website with a full slate of activities that day.
Gotta love it. And I did mention Bob Bear will be on the panel discussion, and he, of course, is a MWFA guy, longtime board member and director, so it won't surprise me if even a few extra people from that association come to cheer him on. So, folks, if you need info on the big Fastener Summit on May 14th, get out to www.ncfaonline.com.
Yep.
One of the other summits that I got wind of is happening in a far corner of the earth relative to Independence, Ohio. This one's taking place in Shanghai, China. I don't think probably any of us will be going, the three of us, but sure does sound interesting. It's happening June 25th to June 27th, and the thing that caught my eye was they're having another one of these Fastener CEO summits. That'd be pretty cool.
Actually, if you lived in China, you wouldn't think it was a far-flung part of the world. They probably think it's the center of the world, okay?
Yes, well, that was not a screw-up of the week because I said it in relation to Independence, Ohio, Bri, if you were listening carefully.
No, apparently I wasn't listening. I was going through my notes too much.
No, I'm not going to offend like a quarter of the planet if I can avoid it.
Go ahead.
If I can offend people, I like to keep it in groups of 10 to 15. I found that's more manageable.
Right. Okay. You've been very successful at that in the past.
Yes, I have. Okay. Anyway, folks, the Shanghai Fastener Show is something I would love to get to, and yes, I am kind of trolling for a free invitation and all-expense-paid trip, but until then, I'll just read about it on their website. Did you know that in 2014 they had over 25,000 people go to that show, Rich?
I did not. Seems like an awful big show.
That's a jamming show. That's a lot of rice bowls right there, man.
How long is the show? 2 weeks?
Well, it's the 25th to the 27th, it says.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. 700 exhibitors last year.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. It is a lot.
And the CEO Summit, the CEOs are not listed, but I'm sure it's a real good lineup of very interesting people. I believe that Robert Shea from BBI participated. If not last year, it was the year before. Not sure, and I don't have that listed on this website that I'm looking at right now. But regardless, they do have an international room where they've got real-time translations happening, and lo and behold, English is one of the languages. So if you're going out there, we should connect with Rob Lucas. He might be one of the guys who's hitting that one.
Yeah, I bet.
Maybe he can report for us.
Right, we discussed that.
Bruce Wheeler might be out there.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to come on the podcast, Rich. He's shy. He's a shy guy.
I don't think he was that shy.
I'll get him at the next Christmas do, okay?
Oh, you just can't let him live down that obnoxious Christmas sweater he had 2 years ago.
It was terrible. It was
It was a good
terrible.
one. He was the winner.
Yeah, I know.
No, take my word for it. Underneath the obnoxious Christmas sweater, he's a shy guy. Modest, maybe. That's the word I should use. So, even though it's not billed as an actual summit, Rich, you're kind of at the helm in one way of another one of the big events coming up in the fastener world. This one not in a far-flung corner. Thank you very much, Brian. This one taking place in Rosemont, Illinois. That's right outside of Chicago for those of you not directly related to Chicago. And that's Fastener Tech 2015. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, June 8th to June 10th at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont there. We're going to kick it off with a golf outing on Monday the 8th, and the show will be Tuesday and Wednesday, the 9th and 10th, with a handful of seminars and conferences all 3 days. And, of course, the Fastener Bash on Tuesday.
Yep.
Now, how's that Fastener Bash work? Everybody who has a pass to get in is welcome to attend?
Well, the Fastener Bash is going to be right in the exhibit hall. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be. We're thinking about moving it to the center of where you walk in instead of, we had it a little bit on the side the last couple of years, or every other year we had it there. We're thinking about having it in the middle. That hasn't been finalized yet, but it will be right at this convention center.
Is that to make it easier to find the door when you're leaving on the way out? Is that?
Well, yeah, because there's 30 of them. You can't go wrong. The other one, you have to go to one end or the other, but it's just a little bit a bigger area instead of a longer area that's a little tough to get from one end to the other, especially at the beginning of that. So we'll finalize that, but it's usually well attended, and some great sponsors help us with that, and looking forward to a good show this year. It's selling fast, that's for sure.
Good. Okay, well, we're going to be there, certainly.
We certainly are. Earlier in this segment, we were talking about a panel discussion that we're doing at the NCFA Distributor Social, and we're going to do a redux of that panel discussion. We'll probably mix up the panelists a little bit, although I guess that's not a real good way to phrase it, is it, Brian? I guess some of them could be.
Some of the panelists could be mixed up already. I'm thinking of me. I'm not thinking of Bob Bear.
Right, but one way or another, we'll put blindfolds on them, spin them around, sit them down, and pepper them with questions. But seriously, it's going to be, I think, an even better and more fine-tuned approach than we've taken in years past at both events, and I'm looking forward to moderating both of them. Thank you, by the way, Rich, for the invitation.
Yep.
And there are several other events that are happening. You can bone up on all of this at the website, www.fastenertech.com. You can also get out to the Midwest Fastener Association website for other details. That's at www.mwfa.net.
Hey, there's a nice event detail page there that spells out the daily happening. So it's all up there, and looking forward to a good show.
One of the other cool things about this show, just the setting. Out there in Rosemont, they've done a lot over the years since Fastener Tech's been there to really expand some of the activities that are available. And right across the parking lot, it seems like they have that big cowboy bar. I guess there's a
Toby
casino.
Keith.
Yeah, Toby Keith's.
The casino's down the road about a mile. It's not right in that area, but you have the Hofbrau, Toby Keith's, nice little bowling alley right there with a nice bar, entertainment, and a few other restaurants there, a couple new hotels. So it's definitely probably be a place after the bash where people will be headed toward.
And I've already checked the Cubs are not playing this year simultaneous with the event. What about the Sox?
Oh, you are shameless.
You knew that was coming, Bri.
Really?
Yeah,
We're talking to a black hatter right here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the dark side. We like to call it the dark side.
The dark side. You're right. That's
There's too many Cub fans out there in the world, so it's the minority Southside Sox fans are definitely proud of our squad, but I hope the Cubs do well one of these years.
Well, I know we're not going to agree on that, but I am giving you an open invitation to let it out there. Are they playing or not during Fastener Tech, or do you not know?
They are in town hosting the Houston Astros Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night at the Cell.
There you go, Bri. You can see your Astros kick some White Sox butt.
Oh,
No, they were Houston. I was Dallas.
got the wrong sport.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really have a dog in that game. I am a Cub fan, but I'm really not a baseball fan. As I think you would agree, Rich, a lot of Cubs fans share that.
Well, that's true, and this is their year, according to Back to the Future. Cubs won the World Series in 2015 when that movie was originally made. So this could be it. You never know.
Thought you were going to say that Cubs ceased being fans about 100 years ago in their last one.
Well, yeah, happy 108th anniversary is my favorite line.
Okay. I shouldn't say things like that.
Well, you can get away with it now. It's irrelevant. They won't be in town for Fastener Tech, but we'll all be there. And Brian can speak for myself, and I won't be at Sox Park. So catch me at the Cowboy Bar afterwards or wherever everybody's meeting up. In addition to all the great things happening with the MWFA, with Fastener Tech, with the great events on the periphery, the NFDA is also piggybacking their summer meeting. And I think it's the Wednesday after the exhibits close down that they're going to be taking care of business there. We can cover that a little bit more on the next episode, but yet another reason to attend because there will be a lot of heavyweights in town for that. So good job on rolling that all into one giant event, Rich.
Well, the credit does go to our fearless leader, Nancy Rich, who year after year does a great job with our organization and a few others now.
That's true. She is tireless. And, of course, the good folks at Fastener Technology International also have a hand in putting this whole thing together. Hats off to you guys as well. So, Rich, I guess this is going to be nearing your swan song as president of the MWFA, right? For kicking off Fastener Tech 15 and then kind of saying goodbye to the presidency. You've had that for what now, 2 seasons?
It'll be 2 years, and it does run through the end of the year, so you will have to put up with me through one more Christmas party also.
Oh.
And,
sorry.
As of January 1st, I will no longer be president. 2-year run is our limit, and like I said, it's a good run, and we just do what Nancy tells us to do.
There you go. Well, I'm sure you'll get used to not having to wear that bulletproof vest all the time and all the free golf.
Oh, yeah. That's fringe benefits, definitely.
Now, you're going to still be able to get hold of radio personalities like Ro Khan, even if you're not president. Can we still see people like that?
Well, as a matter of fact, the Sox opener with Mr. Roper tomorrow. And, I have to talk to him. I talked to him a few weeks ago. We were at a concert, and he's definitely not on the radio anymore, and I have to find out what exactly he's doing.
Right.
Because Ro Khan's got his own gig now.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure exactly. You can always get a hold of him if need be, Brian. If you need a speaker for an event, he can rustle one of those two up for you.
I rely on you for that. I do actually have a picture. Lynn, when we went to the one where Roper was at, Lynn rushed over to have a photo with him. And we have with her and Ro Khan too. So.
Yeah.
Well, Rich, thanks for mentioning that. I'm going to put that in my Rolodex in case we ever do need a top shelf celebrity, because you are not only the president of the MWFA, the big cheese in the Midwest for metric and multi-standard, you're also the Fastener World's pipeline to the stars.
Right.
That's me. TMZ live right here.
Right. Extremely well connected. Okay.
And that's just one of the reasons we thank you so much for appearing with us once again on this episode of Fully Threaded Radio. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, mate.
We'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Talk Radio brothers in thread. Fully Threaded Radio.
Mick Jagger once said, "You can't always get what you want." Well, that's just not the case with Trinity Hardware Headquarters. You can get what you want, and you can get it fast. With over 30,000 varieties of fasteners and new lines of package clamps, carriage bolts, and plow bolts, you've entered Fastener Paradise. Trinity Hardware Headquarters also provides a long list of services to complete your fastener experience. New services such as custom packaging, kitting and polybagging, mill shipments, hold and release and pallet or quarter keg shipments make Trinity Hardware Headquarters your one-stop shopping destination. They also offer secondary services such as patching, machining, drilling, coatings and platings, and parts to print or industry standards. You know, Mick also complained about not getting any satisfaction. He just hasn't yet come to Trinity Hardware headquarters. And don't forget, you can order 24/7 online from trinityhardwarehq.com or call 888-232-1010 anytime. Trinity Hardware headquarters for parts done right.
What can I get you, young fella? An ice-cold sarsaparilla? Something stronger like a beer from the tap? Maybe something even stronger like some blended whiskey?
Those sound like interesting choices, but I'll have an old rusty bolt.
You ain't from around here, are you, young fella?
No, sir. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio? Every time we sold old Rusty Bolt, the fight would break out because we couldn't keep enough in stock. I don't want to have to keep fixing this place up.
But I've traveled a great distance, and I've had my taste buds set on an old Rusty Bolt.
I might have one tucked away in the bottom of the cooler. Yep, here it is.
Hey, he's got an old Rusty Bolt! Let's get him!
I warned you!
Old Rusty Bolt beer, causing civil unrest since the 1800s. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud Fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt beer, official beer of the traveling salesman.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can. Submit a blanket order, and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Hi, this is Jackie with Stelfast in Chicago. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Amigos, back with you.
Yes.
Well, Brian, we mentioned during the last segment that each and every episode of Fully Threaded Radio is a lot like a Fastener Industry Summit.
Well, some might not agree with it. Much do.
Well, I'm standing by it.
Okay.
The All-American Fastener Show is coming up, and that's also sort of a Fastener Industry Summit. This time it's happening in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
September 9th through the 10th. And they've got some, I believe, early bird registration specials running. Get out to their website at allamericanfastenershow.com to get the latest on that, everybody. Connect with FTR radio personality Brian Musker, too, when you're out there.
Yep, I'm going to be there. And looking for some great barbecue, which Nashville has, as well as the Fastener Show, of course.
That's right. And they've got a whole lineup of events this time again. Heidi Voltrauer keeps making the show better each time, and be looking forward to this one.
Yep.
Speaking of Nashville, I was talking with John Walkman of Desert Distribution and the Fastener Training Institute a little while ago, and he just got back from Nashville. He was attending the Fastenal Customer Show, which they held down there.
Oh.
And he said it was a very, very good show. Man, I would love to attend that. He said you just talk nonstop. And Of course, that's pretty much par for the course in Vegas and at most of these industry shows, but he said that one is just absolutely well attended and a lot of buzz going on out there, but he is fresh back from that and full of energy, and we'll be hearing a little bit more from John during the podcast on the Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo.
Cool.
Yeah, get well soon, John. He was thrown off his horse over the weekend, and guess he damaged one of his famous signature cowboy hats. So, fortunately, it wasn't any worse.
Right, I would think the first thing he would do is go and buy a lottery ticket, okay? And think of all the people who got thrown off horses who worried about a lot more than just their hat.
That's true. Well, sounds like business is going well for Mr. Walkman, and we will see him at the upcoming NCFA Distributor Social, so you can get all the details on that one, Bri.
Good, okay.
Hey, everybody, the Fastener News Report's coming up in mere moments, and I'd like to remind you that Fully Threaded Radio, along with the aforementioned Fastener Training Institute, are offering a scholarship to the Fastener Training Week. This results in, if the student, of course, successfully passes it and takes the test, in the Fastener Specialist certification, and you can nominate yourself or someone else in your company. And that's a very simple matter of submitting a 250 to 300 word essay as to why you or your candidate would like to take this class, and submit it to ftr@fullythreaded.com. We will make the announcement of the winner at this year's Vegas Bourbon Room Bash. It's happening in October. And last year, of course, the winner, the well-qualified winner, was Kristen over there at Solution Industries, Kristen Kessler. And we're running that whole thing again, thanks to Fastener Training Institute. Finally, before the Fastener News Report, everybody, the Fastener Distribution Index is always a topic on Mike McNulty's report. And we're going to tease this a little bit, but we have some exciting news about FDI. We, I think, in the very near future, are going to see some enhancements to the reporting and have a couple of other details that we'll be disclosing. Having said that, we encourage each and every one of you listening out there, if you're not already doing so, or your company isn't actually, because it's just one response per company per month, Bri.
Right.
Get out to the website, www.fdisurvey.com, and apply for an invitation to participate in the monthly survey. It takes mere moments, and every distributor, North American distributor that is, that provides us with some survey data is really making the index that much more valid and hopefully a useful metric for the industry.
Right, and there are a number of people who do regard it as a very useful metric, but the fact is it requires people in the industry to, just give answers to 8 questions or something like that every month. No, it's a pain in the neck. It's easier to do nothing, but that's the case with everything. So,
well, it's not that big of a pain, Bri.
Well, apparently it is. I would have, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people filling it in. I mean, that's, the fact is that it's easier to do nothing than to spend 10 minutes, apparently.
It's better than falling off a horse. Is that what you were thinking?
Yes, if that's your choice. So make sure you go out there, and if you've never done one before, go and have a look at it. And there's some interesting metrics. There's some very interesting metrics that Bob Baer actually made. He put a bit of mathematics into the numbers and came up with a very interesting analysis of the actual FDI itself over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, he did some good work on that, and I hope to get that incorporated into the formal report, which it isn't currently, Bri. But what you're saying is right. Get out there to the website, everybody. Once again, that's www.fdisurvey.com.
Right.
The Fastener News Report is brought to us today by Volt Industrial Plastics and Fastenal. Of course, we appreciate all of the sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded are Stelfast, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and Lindstrom. And we appreciate each and every one of you listening in, folks. Now for a Fastener News summit of his own, a guy who's ultra focused on the fastener industry, here's Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. I'm happy to report the appearance of sunshine, green grass, and baseball in Northeast Ohio, but as usual, I am focused on fasteners and ready to deliver the Fastener News Report. In today's report, we're going to reveal the March results of the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as FDI. Also in today's broadcast, we have newsmaker headlines from AFC Holdings, Bright Invest International, Aircraft Locknut Manufacturers Association, the American Wire Producers Association, Tree Island, Falcon Fastening Systems, Sherrick Fastening Systems, Fastener Tech 15, Align Aerospace, and the North Coast Fastener Association. We also have a report from the Fastener Industry Coalition, and on the back page, we're going to hear about an election prediction from the father of supply-side economics, Arthur Laffer. We will get to all of that and the FDI results for March right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
I need 5,000 3/4 10 by 9 and 3/4 grade 8 zinc yellow tap bolts right away, but they're not a standard size.
Solution Man Ken. I carry a wide variety of sizes and I can quickly cut them to any length. See Solution Industries website for details at solutionInd.com.
Using your bare hands?
I do use a saw on smaller parts, actually.
Mike McNulty.
In March 2015, the FDI slipped slightly to a lackluster, seasonally adjusted 50.2, a slight drop after last month's 50.4 reading. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by the FCH Sourcing Network and the National Fastener Distributors Association. It seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener distribution industry. To get the story on these pretty average results, we talked to NFDA President Paul Tiffany of Copper State Bolt and Nut. Hi, Paul. Good morning to you.
Well, I appreciate that, and good morning.
These results aren't much different on the aggregate than they were last month, but there's some other details in the numbers as well. What can you tell us about the FDI results for March?
Well, like you said, we're not seeing a lot of difference, but there is some positive mixed in. When you look at, we obviously had a decline in February, which I think a lot of people, we thought a lot of people would be concerned, but most of the feedback from our industry was that they weren't concerned. Everybody felt that March would come back, especially moving into the second quarter, and that's really what we're seeing in the index. Feedback from my industry is still that some sectors are declining while other sectors are growing. I mean, if you look at, as an industry, we talked last month about construction, and construction again is anybody that's servicing that construction market is on the up and up. Defense spending, I think anybody in that industry, or at least feedback has been that there's going to be a really good outlook, especially the second half of the year on defense spending. So depending on the market, I think you're going to see growth or a decline. I think aggregate and mining, we're still going to see a decline in those industries, or at least distributors that are supporting those industries. But all in all, if you look at the 6-month outlook, it is really falling in line with what people are saying. We have a 44% saying it's going to be higher, 37% the same, and only 19% saying it's going to be lower.
Yeah, still kind of a small minority thinking it's going to get worse.
Correct. And that's positive. Again, I think that 19% is very specific to certain industries.
Now, the two numbers that jumped out to me when you look into the details were the sales and employment numbers, both showing growth in March versus February.
Yeah, I think every sales we knew were going to happen because of the low number in February, even though everybody had a more positive outlook. The employment is interesting. Unemployment is obviously going down, but when you look at the industries that are growing, those are major contributors to employment. Construction and retail are both up, and those are two big players in that market. Supporting those industries is labor intensive, and even when you look at temporary hiring is also even up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely moving in the right direction. I mean, the distribution market is definitely following what the national market is doing.
Now, on the subject of inventory, they're in the classic thing where the respondents to the survey said their inventory is too high and their customer inventories are too low. Is that something that's actually happening, or just a perpetual feeling?
It may be just a perpetual answer. We've talked about this. You can look at the trend on where it's going to see what people really feel. But I don't think you're going to get a customer to say that that they don't have enough, they have too much inventory, or they have too little inventory. Right. Customers want the distributor to carry it. But if you look at the trend, you've got a 31 to 33 in customer inventories. So that's, I think once we have enough trending on that, we'll be able to see what people really feel is happening in the market. But I think we'll always see one being higher than the other.
Right. And pricing is said month to month was a little bit lower, but this year to last year a little bit higher. Is that what you're hearing out there?
It is. I think this month's lower number, I think, is a direct reflection of some of the sales numbers in February and people responding to what really is right now a competitive market. So I kind of foresaw that would be the case. But year over year, I think the industry is saying that they're still up on the year. So that's a positive.
I had a market research firm contact me this week that they're doing some research for somebody who's looking to get into the aerospace industry. I mean, in the fastener industry, in particular in the aerospace, and they were very curious about the ability to have price increases in the fastener industry. And I was just saying, it's always seems to be a problem in this industry, is that you get little incremental thing, but no real chances of putting big price increases through. Is that your experience?
It is difficult. Obviously, contracts, it's written in a contracts of how much you can go up and down depending on the year, but most of it follows commodities. And when you look at what makes up a fastener, and steel being a large part of it, a lot of people follow that steel commodity, and you don't
the material price.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you're following suit on the material prices, there's obviously a delay on when those raw material prices hit us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of there isn't a true index for one of our customers to look at and say, oh, okay, I can see why you're charging more. But there's definitely a delay. But really, it's market driven. It doesn't really matter what I think we should be able to charge. It's what the market demands.
Right, supply and demand. That's it.
Correct.
So a few years ago, if you had a lot of titanium rivets, Boeing would have been willing to pay a lot for them when they had that big shortage. But other than that, you're pretty much just following the market.
Pretty much following the market. But again, we saw some really high increases when supply went down, and people were able to charge more for the inventory that they carried.
Mm-hmm. Economics 101.
Correct.
And we should remind the listeners, too, if anybody's new to the FDI analysis, is that any reading of 50 or higher is perceived as a positive growth for the industry. So we're still above the 50-point line, so that's good.
That's great news.
All right, well, I look forward to talking to you next time when we get the results for the April FDI.
Mike, I appreciate the time, and thank you.
All right, Paul, thanks for joining us today on the Fastener News Report. That was NFDA President Paul Tiffany of Copper State Bolt and Nut. To participate in the survey, you can visit www.fdisurvey.com. Next up, today's Fastener Newsmaker headlines. Incline Equity Partners, based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, has acquired AFC Holdings, a Bridgeville, Pennsylvania-based supplier of manufacturing and assembly plant fasteners. AFC had previously been owned by Cleveland, Ohio-based Rockwood Equity Partners, LLC. Brighton Best International has two announcements. In Long Beach, California, BBI hired Matt Eckhart as product manager for BBI hand tools, and in Australia, BBI has purchased Socket Screw Australia Pty, which has 4 Australian fastener distribution centers. The Aircraft Locknut Manufacturers Association will hold the ALMA Technical Committee and Board meetings on October 27th at the Holiday Inn in Santa Ana, California. The ALMA is made up of leading North American makers of self-locking nuts for the aerospace industry. The American Wire Producers Association, AWPA, is holding a briefing of the U.S. House of Representatives Wire and Wire Product Caucus on June 2nd in Washington, D.C., at the same time as the National Association of Manufacturers Manufacturing Summit, which has been called an Army of Manufacturers storming Capitol Hill promoting U.S. manufacturing issues. Tree Island, based in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada, has announced that Tom Halford has accepted the newly created position of Product Manager Fasteners. Tom will focus on the company's recently launched bulk and package screw program for the USA and Canada. Falcon Fastening Systems, a Louisville, Kentucky-based distributor of fasteners and other Class C components, has added Craig Jones as account manager. Sherrick Fastening Solutions has announced that its newest manufacturing facility, located in Akron, Ohio, has been awarded the ISO 9001-2008 and AS 9100 Quality Management System certifications. Online registration is now open for Fastener Tech 15 at MWFA.net and FastenerTech.com. Align Aerospace, a distributor of aerospace fasteners based in Chatsworth, California, has been sold to Avic International Holding Company Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Avic International, a Chinese supplier of aircraft. And our top Fastener Newsmaker headline is that on May 14, 2015, the North Coast Fastener Association will hold its distributor social event at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Independence, Ohio. In addition to the distributor social, the association is planning the NCFA Fastener Summit, a full day of events including a tour of ND Industries, a fastener failure workshop, association meetings, an employment presentation, and a panel discussion on the latest fastener industry trends, hosted by Fully Threaded radio host Eric Dudas. Now stay tuned for a Fastener Industry Coalition News Report delivered by FIC board member Jay Minichino of BMB Fasteners.
Thanks, Mike. The FIC can't stress enough the value and benefit of being a member of your regional association, or on a larger level, a national association. If you're already a member of one of these associations and haven't been out to a meeting in a while, please come out and see what you've been missing. For more information on the benefits of belonging to a fastener association, or a master calendar of association events, please visit our website at www.fastenercoalition.org. And now on to association news. Midwest Fastener Distributor Association. Mark your calendars for Fastener Tech Golf Outing and Show from June 8th through 10th in Chicago, the heart of the fastener industry. The floor plan is 95% sold out. Show management is looking to add exhibit space. For more information on events, please visit their website at www.mwfa.net or fastenertech.com. Metropolitan Fastener Distributor Association. The MFDA's next dinner meeting is its annual economic forecast, featuring an economist from ITR Economics on April 23rd at the Chart House in Weehawken, New Jersey. Scholarships are available online to all member companies. Application deadline is May 1st. For more information on any of these events, please visit their website at www.mfda.us. North Coast Fastener Association. On May 14th, NCFA will hold its 7th annual Distributor Social at the Crowne Plaza Hotel located in Cleveland, Ohio. This year, in addition, they are planning to hold an NCFA Fastener Summit with a day full of fastener-related events. For more information on these events, please visit their website at www.ncfa-online.com. National Fastener Distributors Association. The NFDA will hold its 2015 annual meeting June 10th through 11th at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, in conjunction with Fastener Tech 2015. Come to the show and stay for our conference, which will include an economic update from the Institute of Trend Research. Visit www.nfda-fastener.org for details. PacWest Fastener Association. PacWest will hold a tabletop and spring conference April 23rd through April 25th in Long Beach, California. Due to overwhelming demand, additional hotels have been added for housing. The education program is Leadership Skills, an Economic Update, and Fastener Testing. Visit www.pac-west.org for details. Southeast Fastener Distributor Association. CFA Spring Conference, celebrating their 40th anniversary, will take place in Nashville, Tennessee from April 21st through April 23rd. Tabletop show, golf outing, and informative sessions will be featured, along with social events. Join CFA in the Music City for this great networking event. Conference brochure and registration materials are available at www.thecifa.com. Southwestern Fastener Association. SFA is hosting their 2015 Spring Conference from April 30th through May 3rd at the Hilton Buffalo Thunder Resort in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Featured speaker will be Joe Greenslade of IFI. For more information, please call their office at 713-952-5472 or visit www.sfa-fastener.org. This association news was brought to you by the Fastener Industry Coalition, bringing the industry together, one fastener at a time.
Finally, let's turn to the back page to hear about an election prediction from the father of supply-side economics. Arthur Laffer has a simple theory of economics, made famous in the 1980s, that the lowest, simplest tax code will produce the most growth. He also thinks that successful politicians should keep things simple and stay out of the weeds and temptations of micromanagement. In a recent Washington Post blog entry, Laffer, the legendary supply-side economist, was reported as saying that 2016 is the year that will produce a wave election for Republicans, followed by the most aggressive tax-cutting legislation since Ronald Reagan, followed by massive growth, and finally followed by a generational lock on Washington for the GOP. Laffer thinks any candidate in the current Republican crop could deliver the results. Laffer's economic calculations lead him to believe that the USA economy is primed after a decade of slow growth and middle-class income stagnation to grow rapidly, and it just needs a simple tax reform bill that would lower rates and eliminate most deductions. In my opinion, this would be a welcome development coming on the heels of the 2014 Republican wave election. An election, quite frankly, that has not produced much tangible change in the current trajectory of our still-growing federal government, which seems bent on developing utopian solutions to age-old basic problems. If Laffer is right, it will mean that a cultural shift is already taking place behind the cameras and bright lights of the mainstream media. If he is wrong, then I think that our federal republic is in deep trouble. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International, bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
Up next, it's a conversation with Würth Group Executive Vice President, Mr. Marc Strandquist. I think you'll find it well worth the listen. I'm fully threaded.
How do you make the top name in packaged fasteners even better? Combine it with one of the best-known names in the fastener business. announcing that Titan Fasteners is now a proud part of Lindstrom. For more than 50 years, the Titan name has provided distributors with experience, technical expertise, and full customer support in every package that's shipped. For fastener needs in in-plant maintenance, industrial and construction, MRO and automotive, fleet, farm, building and grounds. Available by the box, keg, or pallet. Titan means packaged fasteners, and Lindstrom means choice, flexibility, and value. And together, we now offer more than 133,000 SKUs. For value-added fastener solutions in metric or inch, turn to Lindstrom and Titan Fasteners. To learn more about Titan Fasteners, visit titanfasteners.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-789-8112.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH Scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Hey everybody, this is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Institute and Carver Consulting, and this is your Fastener Training Minute. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, torque tension. How is it that this twisting motion that we put into a bolt called torque turns into this clamp load that we call tension? There's more to it than meets the eye. Come back in a minute and I'll give you some technical stuff about how torque tension works.
Thanks, Carmen. This is John Walkman for the Fastener Training Institute. Next week, Carmen is opening the PacWest Pre-Spring Conference activity with his Risk Management for Fastener Distributors presentation at the Westin Hotel in Long Beach. There is still time to register, and this morning session occurs right before the PacWest Tabletop Show. There will be over 60 tables at this event. In May, we're responding to industry requests for fastener basics. This will be our first multi-week webinar and will be presented on 3 consecutive Fridays. Carmen Vertullo, our resident webinar trainer, assisted by Joe Morris, the producer of our webinar programs, promise this will be a great way to get your relatively new employees up to speed. Each session will consist of 60-minute presentation with a 30-minute question and answer period. On May 19th, Carmen will be presenting his new structural bolting technology class. As new infrastructure programs take hold across the country, there are many opportunities for the fastener supplier. This class covers the key roles of each player in the supply chain of a bolted connection. The fastener manufacturer, local supplier, and installer must work together to anticipate and avoid any problems that can cause expensive job site delays. This class will be offered in La Mirada, California. For those of you attending Fastener Tech 15 in Chicago this June, Bank Blendoff will again be offering his Fastener Technology Workshop. This is always a very well attended and received program. Please visit our website, fastenertraining.org, to see our complete schedule with class registration details. Now back to Carmen Vertullo for our Fastener Training Minute.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about torque tension, just a few basic facts and some resources that will help you to be able to use this principle in your business. First thing is, it seems to me when I was working in the fastener distribution industry, and even now, one of the most common questions we get from end users is, what is the right torque for this bolt? How tight should I make it? And as a supplier, you're treading on thin ice when you decide to give out that kind of technical information, because you can get yourself in trouble. Something goes wrong with that. Bolts fail, the assembly fails, and the customer's going to blame it on you. But there are some ways that you can advise your customer on how to determine the right torque tension by giving them some resources. First thing to know is, yes, you can get torque out of a table. There are plenty of good books and plenty of tables out there that work just fine for determining torque. The important thing is when you use those tables, you got to be right down the middle. You got to have a standard fastener, a rigid joint. Everything has to be right, and you got to have a good torque wrench. So what do you do when that's not the case? Well, there are some really good experiments that you can do involving torque tension. Some require instruments and some don't. Some great resources to learn how to use those experiments are the IFI, the Industrial Fasteners Institute, has a book called the Torque Book, and it tells you all about how to apply torque tension experiments. There is a online resource that the IFI has called the Fastener Technology Connection. You've seen me demonstrate that before, I'm sure. As well, you can come to some of the Fastener Training Institute's training programs, and one that we got coming up is one on torque tension. It's a webinar. It's right around the corner. A couple of more we got coming up on structural bolting and the bolted joint. Those are in classroom sessions. And what I want you to know for sure is there are ways to advise your customers about torque tension. That famous formula, T equals KDP, is what it's all about. It's not that difficult, and you can do it safely. So one of the best resources that we have for learning about torque tension are the programs that John Walkman told you about previously from the Fastener Training Institute, both our webinars and our in-classroom sessions. And if you didn't get it from John, just go to www.fastenertraining.org. Thanks for listening to the Fastener Training Minute.
Hey, this is Clayton Allen from Buckeye Fasteners in Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you. Well, we heard the latest FDI numbers and analysis with Mike McNulty Bry.
Yeah.
And we're joined now by a guy who's right in the thick of that story because he's a guy who quietly continues to make headlines in this industry. Marc Strandquist is Executive Vice President of the Würth Group in North America. He's based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, but he's here with us now. Welcome back to Fully Threaded, Marc.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
Hey, last time you were on with us, you were describing the Würth's battle plan for growth, and it involved merger and acquisition. And, well, we've heard a few headlines in that direction from Würth since then, and I guess that'd probably be a pretty good place to get the conversation rolling.
Sure. No, we continue to have a growth plan within North America that involves both organic growth as well as acquisitions. Last year saw us acquire Timberline out of Denver, Colorado. And this year, we're very close, but throughout the year, we should probably if everything goes the right way, at least have 3 different acquisitions that'll come forward this year and maybe a 4th. We're just going through the processes right now, and they all, of course, go at various speeds. Some go slow and some go fast, but, we've been very busy with that since the start of the year, and as well as, our regular organic growth. We're very, very proud that through March, the Würth Industry of North America companies, we call it the WINA companies, are 13% ahead of last year's sales between the 6 companies that are a part of that.
Holy cow.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I should have said he's not in the thick of the FDI story, but he's well ahead of that curve.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's a 2-pronged approach to growth, and our current companies are all been working very hard as they look at their structures for growth internally and the resources that they require, and we're seeing some success out there in the marketplace that has been very rewarding, and I can't give the guys and gals out there that are all part of the WINA organization enough credit for the hard work they put in so far this year, and then we're very excited about the balance of this year.
Well, it's clearly paying off. Now, I have to ask you, here on Fully Threaded Radio, we really enjoy hearing really the nitty-gritty of how companies are experiencing the industry, how they're succeeding in what they're experiencing. But we also get into a little bit of the dirt, and I have to ask you, everybody always wants to know what's going on with the latest merger, the latest acquisition, and do you do anything to keep all of that in the can, so to speak? In other words, off the headlines? I mean, it's an industry full of talk, and how do you keep all that kind of close to the vest during the initial talks?
That's a great question. Most of the time as we talk with a target company that we would like to look at, and on the surface we think there's a good fit, generally we always, of course, sign a non-disclosure agreement, and I think our group has done a very good job in terms of honoring those and keeping that to a minimum. Certainly the Timberline was a success story to that, where, we want to honor the different people that we talk to, and we want them to be able to trust us, that we can have a good dialogue. Because, as we've talked to people over the last year, we didn't just stop after Timberline for a while. We've continued to have discussions, and some people are interested and some people are not. But both of those scenarios are such that, if someone is interested, obviously they'd like to keep it quiet, because you never know if these things happen or not. And if someone's not interested, they certainly don't want us to talk about it. So we work really hard, and we think that's an important part of our approach, and it helps build trust.
Right. Yeah, I was part of a big multinational once, and we acquired something like 400 companies in 1 year, and it was a horrific job, trying to keep everything straight and dealing with accounting-wise, and everyone was always talking about someone who'd had a meeting with someone in our company. It was just a mess.
Yeah, with that many companies, geez,
right.
I would have to imagine you would have found some loose lips. But I have to say that I think you've done a pretty good job with your crew, Mark, because not much slips out. Some of these stories really come as a big surprise to a lot of people, at least that I talk to.
Good. Well, then we're successful with that. I appreciate the feedback.
Well, having said that, I guess it's no surprise that the Würth company has a pretty good track record, and there's a milestone, at least 2 of them that we know of. That has been no secret. And why don't you let the audience in on what's going on at Würth anniversary-wise?
Absolutely. I'm real excited to talk about this. I'm very proud of the group and where we're at today. But it's actually this month, the month of April. It's our 70th anniversary as a company. The company started in 1945. It's also for our patriarch, Professor Reinhold Würth. It's his 80th birthday this month. So we're all celebrating throughout the globe. We're in 84 different countries with about 418 different companies. And so it's a real nice global celebration this month as we recognize the achievements that the company has had. He took over in 1954. He was only 19 years old. So his father started the company in 1945, took it over in 1954 when his dad passed away. And it's just been a remarkable story since then. In the 1960s, he started to expand outside of Germany, starting first with the Netherlands. And actually in 1969, he landed in the U.S. and started the process there. And in 2014, we were able to celebrate about 10 billion euros in sales. So as an interesting currency tidbit. So that's today, based on a currency exchange, that's about $10.9 billion US dollars. But actually, as of a year ago, when the exchange rate was much higher, that that was $13.6 billion US dollars. So there's really the same amount of screws that go out the door, but because of currency exchange, we've seen a bit of a reduction in US dollars. But I'm very proud of that. And, you know, he, in 1970, started with a process, so that we're all working very hard to support, where he kind of put together a vision every 10 years. And he's never missed one yet. And the current vision is going to take a lot of effort as we try and achieve 20 billion euros in sales by 2020. So that's a combination of organic growth, and it's also part of this acquisition strategy that we see here in the United States and in North America, what is going on a global basis as well, as we look to, you know, expand our geographical territories, expand the product assortment that we can offer to our customers, all sorts of activities. So appreciate the fact that I could talk about that a little bit. We're really proud to be a part of the group and to be part of the culture within the Würth Group as a family-owned company. We're the largest family-owned company in the globe in terms of fasteners.
Yep.
So it's something to be proud of.
It certainly is, and that is a great story. Congratulations to the Würth family, and also happy birthday to the good doctor, a wonderful milestone.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, you mentioned the M&A, and we talked about that briefly at the top of this segment, and that has definitely been instrumental in your growth. But as you also mentioned, you're outpacing the industry in a lot of ways. You know, I wanted to point out that our analysts who help us with the Fastener Distributor Index have mentioned to us that some of the large publicly traded MRO companies have been feeling kind of sluggish overall the last couple of quarters. How do you explain Würth's beating the market, so to speak? I mean, what are you doing differently than they are?
Well, I think it reflects our people. I mean, part of our culture is developing our people. Part of our culture is allowing our people to grow and give them more and more freedom in their jobs. So, you know, I'm responsible for about 1,100 people today, and I give them all the credit. It's not Marc Strandquist being the world's most unattractive cheerleader. It's all about the people that are in the individual warehouses, whether that warehouse is in Cincinnati, or it could be in Roanoke, Virginia, or it could be in Denver, Colorado, or Phoenix. It's all our people and what they're doing. And, you know, they get up and they're motivated and they're energetic, enthusiastic. They believe in what they're doing. And that really is the first step, right? It's all about being a mental obstacle. You can look out there and, you know, look at some of this economic data, and you can sit in your office and, you know, drink white wine and listen to Barbra Streisand and feel sorry for yourself. Or you can get out there and make things happen and make that one extra sales call. Try and get in front of your customer at 8 in the morning and not sit there and start your car at 10 in the morning and get out there and visit customers then. It's, you know, it's about hustling and focusing on the business and trying to do the best you can.
Let me tell you, if I was in my office listening to Barbra Streisand, I would be feeling sorry for myself.
So liking Barbra Streisand is absolutely the antithesis of motivation, is it?
I was going to say, I was thinking about going with Barry Manilow, but I think we'll stay with Barbra Streisand.
I think you hit it right on the head, Mark. Well, I think, Brian, you can attest to some of what Mark is saying, and for folks who don't know, FCH Sourcing Network, which is Brian and my bailiwick, we're working very closely with the Würth Group currently, and you've had an opportunity to interface with a lot of Würth people over the last several months, haven't you?
Some of them fairly well, yeah. It's been very good. You know, we've dealt with how do we rationalize descriptions of parts, part number systems.
Well, I would have to say that characterizing it, from our standpoint at least, is a fastidiousness to detail.
Good.
Yes, I have been requested to provide excruciating detail to some other people in Würth, which is unusual, but, you know, the scrubber has it all. It's just hidden away.
Yeah, don't hire us to be your new marketing team, though, Mark, because fastidious and excruciating, I don't know if you want those on your new advertising campaign.
Well.
Hey, Mark, I was taking a look at the Würth website, and that's at www.würthindustry.com. And on one of the pages, there's a great shot of a facility, And I was curious, what facility is that? If you know off the top of your head, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but it looks like a large distribution center and possibly some manufacturing going on. What is that building?
That's our distribution center. It's a world-class facility in Germany. It's actually we just sponsored a group of people from the NFDA that were in Stuttgart, Germany for the Fastener Show, and we had a whole bunch of people go through and go through every building and kind of see what we're all about. It's a really fascinating story. That actually was a West German tank base that was built in the late 70s. And then, of course, with the wall going down, Germany, once it was consolidated, decided to shut down some of these military bases.
Yep.
So in most cities, even in the U.S., a lot of times the military base is supported by civilian workers. So when they were going to shut that down, there was a lot of workers, whether they're maintenance or cooks, whatever, a variety of positions, they didn't want to lose all those jobs. So they came to our owner and said, listen, we have this opportunity. You could take over the ground and the facilities here in the buildings if you promise to create jobs. And so what you see there in that picture on the left-hand side is the barracks where the soldiers used to be, which are now offices, and they have where the tanks used to have the motor pool. And of course, we have a lot of new buildings there. The gentleman that runs that, a gentleman by the name of Rainer Burkert, is an amazing guy. Took that over in 1999 in the year 2000 and has totally turned it into, like I said, a world-class logistics center, and they ship close to $40 million a month, where they shipped zero 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's good old Deutschland, okay? Efficiency.
Yeah, they run Kanban programs out of there all the way almost 6 to 8 hours from that facility. They deliver every day. That's how sophisticated the truck system is and how they support their customers.
Whereabouts in Germany is that plant?
It's about an hour and a half south of Frankfurt.
Oh, okay.
Maybe depending on construction stuff, it might take 2 hours, but generally it's south of there, and it's a couple hours north of Munich.
Yep.
So it's kind of that western central area.
Yep.
Well, it's an impressive looking facility, that's for sure. We did talk to some of the NFDA people who had the chance to tour out there. I presume you were out there for the Stuttgart show this year, Mark?
No, regrettably, no. I had a pretty full plate here, and I was not able to go. But I am on the board of directors for NFDA, and I did coordinate the visit. And real pleased that we, part of our philosophy in terms of transparency and being open, that we basically had a no rules of engagement type of a situation where anybody who had an interest, we were willing to do that. And then at the end of that tour, the Würth family is very into culture, and they have multiple art museums throughout Germany where the family has a collection of art, and then they open it free to the public. And so we then took the NFDA members to one of the Würth museums and finished out the day in high style.
Oh, that is equally
pretty good.
Yeah, that is very impressive. And that also explains something I wanted to ask you that I saw recently on Global Fastener News, and it also has to do with one of your facilities, this one in Sweden. The story in Global Fastener News, apparently you won kind of the equivalent of a architecture Oscar, and there was a picture of the building, and it was quite magnificent. Could you tell us a little bit about that? How did that come to be?
Well, I mean, again, part of the family's philosophies and the culture is, having, whether it's beautiful works of art or in this case, a very nice building to work in. They have a philosophy that they want people to be happy and want to come to work and try and provide that kind of an environment. And so just as a brief plug, our Adams company up in Minneapolis, Würth Adams, is building a brand building that won't look like that, but it's magnificent. And it's going to be a beautiful building. And that, if I'm fortunate enough to be invited back, I'd love to talk about that in September, October when the building's finished. But it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. And so, the owner is he's still, even at the age of 80, he's very involved. And he actually was part of the architectural review of the building. And this is going to be something to really be proud of.
Well, I can only imagine if people want to see the picture that I'm looking at right now. Actually, I'll put it up on Twitter. But I have to imagine you can go to Global Fastener News and do a search for Würth in Sweden maybe, and it'll come up. But this was a couple weeks ago. Great looking facility. Can't wait to see the one in Minnesota. Hey, bringing the conversation back stateside again. There was an issue that I know you know a lot about, and that is the wind energy sector. And last couple times we've had you on, we've touched on it at least. And I'm curious, with your Doka facility being so involved with wind, what do you make of that whole area right now? How do you summarize it for listeners?
Yeah, it's kind of a simple situation in that last year, Doka up in Auburn Hills, Michigan had a record sales year, the best year that we've had since we opened up the company in 2012. But the wind power market, or the wind energy sector, is really heavily dependent here in the United States on a federal tax subsidy called the production tax credit. And off and on since 1994, our federal government can't seem to get along, and then the tax subsidy expires, and that causes a lot of issues. And in this situation, the tax credit expired at the end of December, and so after record sales in 2014, we're seeing that there's some impact to the marketplace in terms of confidence and in terms of where they're going, in terms of purchasing new wind machines, et cetera. So we're a little worried about the back half of this year. We're seeing some of it in the first half. We're hoping that our federal government can quit throwing stones at each other like 8-year-old boys and actually come to an agreement, because there are a lot of jobs in wind power. It is getting more efficient every year in terms of the ability. The blades are getting bigger, the towers are getting taller, they're getting more efficient in terms of the electronics and the generation of power. So there's a lot of exciting things going on within the industry. Unfortunately, similar to corn subsidies for ethanol, and oil and gas has been around for almost 100 years, and they still get a subsidy. So this is an area that I think the wind power industry is not being asked to be treated any differently than these other tax subsidy markets, but certainly the consistency of the production tax credit and the ability to string together more than a year or two. I mean, for me, it would be nice to have a tax policy on this market that would be locked in for 5 years so people can plan. Right now, it's very difficult to plan. And so we go from record sales to starving a bit. So that's kind of our challenge that we have today. Love the industry, love the products, but, the ability to consistently stay there is a problem. And it's caused, when we first got here in 2012, there were several European wind machine manufacturers that were here in the States, and they've since shut down. Nordex was down in Arkansas, and they've shut that facility down, and there was others throughout the U.S. that, really the big three today is Siemens Wind Power, Vestas, and General Electric Wind. Those are kind of the big three in that market, with some small presence with some of the other people, or they'll export from Spain, or they'll export from China and bring the product over here, but we're not creating jobs because people have kind of given up on being, feeling they can rely on our government and the consistency of the production tax credit.
Where is the experimentation, the new design of blades and things? Where is it all coming out of Germany? I mean, my thinking was that it's mainly German-driven. Standards governing it are sort of German standards, or DIN standards.
Yeah, actually, kind of the birthplace and the origin is in Scandinavia for much of this. Vestas is in Denmark.
Is that? Okay.
Siemens Wind has manufacturing facilities in Denmark. There is a significant Siemens office and presence in Hamburg, Germany, but a lot of the innovation is coming out of Scandinavia and those areas.
Okay. So is any of the development being done in the US, or are they just picking up whatever comes out of a European factory, Scandinavian factory?
No, GE, obviously General Electric is a US-based company, and in terms of what they do here, they're doing some innovation here. I mean, I think everybody's aware, the newest plane that Airbus made, this huge jumbo that there's only so many airports where it can land on. Some of the new blades that are coming out are as long as an Airbus 380.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's sort of long. I flew back to and from Australia on that 380, and it's a bloody big plane.
Yeah. I've never been on one yet, but that actually, one of the blades can be that long.
Well, how tall is the tower for a blade that large?
Very tall.
Yeah, that's my best answer. I can't give you a technical answer other than it's really, really big.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to answer part of my own question here, but I'm thinking about domestically manufactured fasteners for these towers and these blades and things. What percentage of the fasteners that go into these things are domestic?
That's a good question. I mean, right now, there's probably 4 dominant manufacturers, and then there's a scattering of smaller companies that support it. But, you have Pioneer in Germany, you have Friedberg in Germany, you have Cooper and Turner in England, Doka, who has the 2 plants. We have plants in Norway, and we have a plant here in Michigan. Those are the dominant forces in wind power today, is those 4. Are there some other people that supply dribs and drabs? And certainly, these are all hot formers, basically. So obviously the cold forming parts come from all over the place. So the cold formers probably have 25 different manufacturing suppliers. The hot forming is really the big 4.
Okay. So Würth's got a decent part of that then, Doka.
We're trying.
Yep.
We're trying.
Good.
And of course the C&D products, that's really up for grabs, I would imagine, that are supporting the wind fields and so forth.
Correct. Yeah, it depends on where you're at, but whether you're in Iowa or Arizona or Texas or Pennsylvania, there's just most of that will come from a local facility or competitor.
Sure. Point being, wind is good for the fastener industry, and I guess we'll have to have you back again when you've got more to tell us on that one.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking with Marc Strandquist. He's the Executive Vice President of the Würth Company in North America. The website, if you want to check out more, is www.würthindustry.com. And I have to tell you, Marc, it's always good to have you on the program, and we thank you for carving out a bit of time for us. I got to tell you, though, beyond your wealth of fastener insights, there's another reason we like having you on, and that's because you share a particular passion with Brian and I, and that, of course, is the great sport of muskie fishing.
I'm counting the days. For me, I do a lot of fishing up in Wisconsin. The area I go to, I was looking at the weather the other day, and they're talking about 4 or 5 inches or more snow Thursday night. So that last year, ice out in northern Wisconsin wasn't until that first weekend in May. I sure hope it doesn't last that long this time, and that we can get and do some fishing a lot sooner than waiting for the ice to melt like that.
Yeah, here. Now, last time we talked to you, you were having a hard time even getting out. So I take it that you've been able at least a few times last season. Did you have any momentous catches?
No, embarrassingly, I went 0 for 2014 in terms of muskies. I had a couple hooked, but I don't count those unless you actually get them in the boat.
Which is proper.
Caught plenty of other fish, but no, I kind of had stopped by the 4th of July. I kind of went that month of June, and I was able to fish a couple times, and then just too much on the go. So yeah. I'm hoping that this year will change and have a little bit more opportunity.
Yeah, it's called priorities, but then again, it's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? Setting priorities when you actually have to business to run.
I know. So the quicker we get all these activities and projects complete, where I can have a little bit more of a level opportunity to get out there, the better.
Well, the muskies are hard to catch even for people who aren't engrossed in business, which you certainly are, and we'll wish you good luck and success in 2015 in fishing and otherwise. Marc Strandquist, thank you so much once again for joining us.
Yep, thanks, gentlemen.
When people think Fastener Talk Radio, they think, but then they think of fully threaded radio. Talk radio for the fastener industry.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Harry, how's your search for new software going?
We've looked at a lot of systems, some with the same old technology, and others didn't seem like they knew much about what we did or needed. We did look at one company, crazy name though, I think it was InSQL.
You mean INXSQL? That's InSQL. That's what we use. We've become much more efficient, and we've been able to offer our customers more services, which makes us more competitive.
Yeah, Inkswell, that's the one. They seem to be the only company that really understood what fastener distributors do for a living, and I found it easy to use.
Harry, it's InSQL, INXSQL. You don't pronounce the X. We buy a lot from several master distributors, and their direct connect simplifies the whole process. When we need pricing and availability quickly, we just hit the F12 key.
If you don't pronounce the X, why put it in there? A friend told me they get great support from NXQL.
Yes, with InSQL, our experience has been the same. Quality support. They know our business. And the best part is, no extra charges. With our old system, apparently nothing we called about was covered by support.
You know, Inkwell seems to be the right company for us.
They're called InSQL, INXSQL. Go to their website, www.inxsql.com, or call them at 877-446-9775.
You probably know that Lindstrom is an industry leader in metric fasteners. And there's a good chance you know we recently expanded to provide a wide range of high-grade inch fasteners. But what you probably don't know is that Lindstrom has made a serious commitment to earn your socket business. How serious? Well, let's start with 11,000 products. Announcing Lindstrom's expanded line of socket products, including socket head cap screws, flat head socket cap screws, button head socket cap screws, socket shoulder screws, and more. Plain, plated, or patched, in a full range of inch and metric sizes. Special lengths and thread pitches available through in-house fabrication. Always packed to your specification. Lindstrom. Flexibility, choice, and value at every turn. Here for everything distributors need. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded line of socket products, visit LindstromSockets.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-328-2430.
First, there was fire, and man said, "Fire good." Then there was the wheel, and man said, "Wheel good." With the invention of the wheel came the need for fasteners, and man loudly exclaimed, "Buckeye good." Buckeye Fasteners, providing quality products since the dawn of man. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud Fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt Beer, official beer of the Traveling Salesman.
Tell them Grog sent you. Ugh.
This is Don Shin from Solution Industries, home of Solution Man, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you. Fully Threaded Radio, the blowtorch of the fastener industry.
Okay. Then where you dream this crap up from?
Yeah, you have to do this thing in the radio industry, Bri.
Okay. Right.
Hey, have you ever been to Sweden? I mean, you probably have. You've been everywhere else. I was thinking about that because Würth has that amazing building that they won the award for in Sweden.
I have. Yes, there's a military base in the city called Malmö, just across the water from Copenhagen, that I was in.
Why, were you working for the military at the time? You can't say. That's all right. You didn't happen to see this building, I guess, because it was many years before that, right?
A long time ago. Yeah, right. It was before the Cold War, I think, when I was there.
Well, that is really a breathtaking building. And again, I'll put a picture of it out on our Twitter feed. If you're a Twitter user, get out there and see it, or go to Global Fastener News website at fastenernews.com and you can see a picture of it. Really, really cool. Also, Mark was mentioning that he's going to shoot again this year for a big muskie. He, of course, stomps around up there in the north woods of Wisconsin. I'd like to let everybody know that I'm congratulating you publicly, Brian, for cracking the ice here in the Buckeye State. And last week we had you out here and you got your first Buckeye muskie. Good for you, man.
Yes, I did, but I didn't really crack the ice because you did the same thing with a slightly bigger one last year, if my memory's right.
Well, that's all right, but I had a little bit of a head start on you. I don't think we've put one of that size in the boat this early in the season ever.
No, we have not. It's just amazing. Beginner's luck, okay? It shows you how good it is.
Yeah, well.
Can't rely on it, though, unfortunately.
Well, you're not a beginner anymore. That's the good news. So next time we come out, we'll have to hit it again. But, yeah, Brian was out there. The weather was, I don't think, ideal. It was a little nippy out there. And we were actually just trying to do some scouting. And lo and behold, dragging some crankbaits behind the boat, zing, we hit fish lips.
Right. It was very good. Not quite as colorful as the muskies we catch up at Lake of the Woods. But, still, it's muskie, okay?
Fish is fish.
Yep.
And Marc Strandquist is a guy who loves his fish. We'll talk to him some more, I think, in June, if memory serves. And, of course, we'll cover that when the time comes. But I'd like to thank Mr. Marc Strandquist of Würth, North America. He's the EVP, and it's always good for him to spend a few minutes with us. Also like to thank Mr. Rich Cavoto. He was on the first segment with us this time, and it'll be good to see him out there at Fastener Tech 2015 in Rosemont, Illinois.
Yeah, this is the Rich Cavoto who specializes in giving heavy traffic driving lessons to other people.
Yeah, if you haven't quite caught on to the joke there, folks, talk to us at our booth at Fastener Tech.
Yeah.
Or hook up with Rich to head out to the Sox game after the show.
Yeah. Right, especially when you're in a rush hour Chicago traffic jam, okay?
Well, you'll get where you're going in a hurry.
Yes, you will.
Hey, everybody. Mike McNulty had the Fastener News Report. He was joined this time with Paul Tiffany, NFDA president. Thanks, guys. Great job. We also had Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, and Jay Minichino delivered the Fastener Industry Coalition Association Report. Thanks to you all.
Yes.
The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. Trinity Hardware Headquarters. Trinity, for parts done right. And Lindstrom. Lindstrom, by any measure. Fully Threaded Radio is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, InSequel Software, ND Industries, Solution Industries, the Würth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Fastener Technology International. We've got a great group sponsoring the show, Bri, and we're grateful for each and every one of them.
Yep.
Get with us anytime, everybody. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. Get with us on Twitter at the handle fullythreaded.
And fill out the FDI survey.
That's right. The website for that, www.fdisurvey.com. Set yourself up. We'll send you an email each month when it's time to participate.
Right, and soon you'll be able to make it even easier because you can be able to do it from your phone, okay? So you don't have to use the excuse that you weren't in the office. Watch this space.
What could be easier? You know, we've mentioned at several points in the program today, Brian, that Fully Threaded is much like an ongoing Fastener Industry Summit. And there's also been kind of a sub-theme, which is a lot of things seem to be happening in Nashville. You know, there was the Fastenal show that John Walkman went to. We've got the CIFA event coming up in the spring. Jay Minichino mentioned that one. Then in September is the All-American Fastener Show. And I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast are also aware that the National Rifle Association held its annual meeting in Nashville this year. And I read a lot of press on that. It sounded like a great event. Wish I could have attended.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the summit thing was a little bit disguised. I had a little trouble picking it out. Okay.
Well, Brian, it was only moderately thematic this episode.
Okay.
You know,
right.
I do the best I can. Sometimes we're just focused on quality content, sometimes theme.
Right. We got a little distracted by a fish on Saturday. Okay.
There you go. I'll take that as an excuse. However, I did dig this up, getting back to the NRA operating out there in Nashville. See, this is a thread that I have been developing, despite your best efforts to derail me.
Okay, right. Let me continue with that.
Yes, I came across this interesting factoid, or group of factoids, and this is according to statistics provided by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The number of physicians in the United States is roughly 700,000. Accidental deaths caused by physician are about 120,000 per year. That means that accidental deaths per physician is roughly 0.171 annually. So now think about this, and my guess is that this was manufactured by somebody who's on the gun advocacy side. But the number of gun owners in the U.S. is roughly 80 million. Now, per year, among all those gun owners, the average number of accidental deaths per year is about 1,500. That puts it at 0.0000188 gun deaths per year. And that's courtesy of the FBI, I guess, that statistic. Therefore, according to this factoid, statistically, doctors are approximately 9,000 times more dangerous than gun owners.
I knew you were going to break something like that up.
Right. And then to put icing on the cake, they say, remember, quote, guns don't kill people, doctors do.
Right, okay.
So, in conclusion, what do you make of all this, Brian? How do we put a capstone on this?
Sell fasteners and catch some muskies.
That's good advice. I think most of our audience will go with at least half of that.
Yeah.
And however you fall down on that side of the equation, we'll talk to you about it next time or at an upcoming fastener industry event.
Yes, we will. Okay. Hope to see you all there.
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, possibly catch some muskies, and we'll talk to you next time.
Right, yeah.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
When you're in the fastener business, there's no business like bolt business.
That is so true.
John, I'd ask if there's a song to go with that, but I'm afraid that there is and that you'd sing it. So
there's no business like bolt business, like no business I know, etc.